You are an Allosaurus, one of the most successful killers in the late Jurassic. Fast, heavy, built to tear things apart and keep moving. And today, the world is going to try to take that title back. This is not your birth, not your legendary final stand, not some once-in-a-lifetime disaster. It is just a random day, a normal 24 hours on the floodplain, which means it is enough to end you 3 different times. Hour 0. You open your eyes in darkness. The ground is cool under your chest. The air smells of wet soil, trampled ferns, old water, and something dead somewhere ahead. You lift your head slowly. That part matters. Because in your world, waking up too casually is how you stop waking up at all. You breathe in again. There. Rot. Fresh enough to matter. Close enough to chase. Subscribe for brutal animal survival stories. POV, no mercy. You push yourself upright and start moving through the dark. This is not a special day. That is the problem. Hour 2. The eastern sky turns gray. The Morrison floodplain slowly appears around you. Conifers, fern beds, shallow channels, mud that remembers every footstep, mist hanging low over the river like the land itself is trying to hide what lives here. You follow the smell into a grove, and there it is, a carcass, big enough to feed you, fresh enough to attract everything else, half buried in mud, ribs exposed, flies already working. You step closer. Wait a minute. A ceratosaurus is already there, smaller than you, lean, hunched over the body like a thief caught mid-bite. It lifts its head. Its breath hits you first. Foul. Wet. The breath of a scavenger that has been standing inside death for too long. Then the sound. Its teeth scrape across the side of your skull as it lunges. A hard, ugly grind against bone. Too close. Mud splashes up your legs. Its shoulder slams into your chest. Its jaws snap towards your face again, and for 1 second all you smell is blood, rot, and swamp water. You hit back. Your jaws crash toward its neck. Miss. It twists. Fast. One claw skims your shoulder. Not deep. Still expensive. You swing one arm and rake its flank. That gets its attention. The ceratosaurus jerks back, tears off one last strip of meat, and vanishes into the brush like an angry pickpocket. You win the carcass. Congratulations. You are now standing ankle-deep in mud, shaking with adrenaline, covered in bad smells, and bleeding just enough to remember this later. Hour 3. You eat fast, not because you are greedy, because on this floodplain, take your time is another phrase for lose the meal. You plant your feet, grip, rip, lift your head and swallow. The meat is warm, the mud is cold, the smell is awful, perfect. Then the ground starts thumping, slow, heavy, wrong. You freeze. Shapes emerge through the mist. Sauropods, huge bodies moving like drifting walls, necks above the trees, feet that can erase smaller lives without ever noticing. You should be safe if they keep moving. Should. One tail swings, not at you, just through space you are unfortunately standing in. It cuts the air with a deep, violent whoomph. The branch beside your head explodes into splinters. You jump backward so fast your feet nearly leave your thoughts behind. Oh look, you almost got beaten to death by an animal that was not even mad at you. The giants keep walking. To them, you are not a threat. You are weather. Hour 5. The sun is fully up now. The heat arrives early and without mercy. You tear one last mouthful from the carcass, then stop. The smell is spreading too far. This place is getting expensive. So you leave. As you move toward water, something bursts from the undergrowth ahead. A young ornithopod, small, quick, terrified. That could work. You lower your head and launch forward. For a few seconds, everything lines up. Your feet hammer the damp ground. Your tail holds the balance. You are close enough to hear the prey's breathing break apart into panic. Then it cuts hard left. You do not. Your foot hits slick clay. Your whole body lurches. Your jaws snap on empty air so hard your own teeth jolt your skull. The prey disappears into the ferns. Missed. Great. So far this random day has included one scavenger fight, one near flattening, and one public embarrassment before breakfast is even properly over. Hour 7. You reach a shallow channel and step into the water. Half your legs sink into soft mud. Cool water presses against hot skin. You open your mouth and pull air in and out, bleeding heat back into the morning. Dragonflies skim the surface. Small reptiles scatter from the bank. Something large moves upstream with a heavy splash. You lift your head. Nothing follows. Good. Because right now you do not need mystery. You need recovery. Hour 9. Now comes the dangerous part. Not the chase, not the fight, the stillness. The floodplain goes quiet under the midday heat. Even the air feels tired. This is where weak decisions are made. So you step into the shade and stop. Your body slows down, not out of comfort, out of math. Every movement is a withdrawal from your energy bank. Every wasted step is future hunger. Every burst of speed must be paid for later. You are not resting. You are calculating. Can you afford another chase today? Can you afford another fight? Can you afford to get surprised while tired? Your chest rises, falls, rises again. You stay still because being alive sometimes means doing absolutely nothing while the world tries to cook the patience out of you. Then the ferns move. Allosaurus, 2 younger ones. Not tiny, not full grown. The awkward age where confidence shows up several years before wisdom. They step into view and stare. They smell the carcass on you. They smell the blood on you. They smell opportunity. One takes another step. You rise, head low, tail rigid, mouth open just enough to show where this conversation ends. The message is simple. Try it. The bolder one hesitates, then makes the mistake anyway. So now you charge. Short burst. Maximum intent. No warning label. Both younger animals wheel around and run immediately. One nearly trips over a root in its hurry to stop being brave. Nice work. But don't relax, because even a victory costs something, and the day is nowhere near done with you. Hour 11. Clouds pile up over the horizon. Tall ones, dark ones. The smell of rain rolls across the floodplain before the first drop falls. Small animals vanish. Bird calls stop. The whole landscape tightens like it knows what is coming. Then the sky breaks. Rain slams down. The ground goes soft almost instantly. Mud grips your feet. Water races through the ferns. Scents smear together until the whole world smells alive, dead, and dangerous at the same time. Moving now is harder. Hunting now is harder. And of course, that is exactly when you find a stegosaurus. Hour 12. It stands broadside near a broken tree. Plates along the back. Head low. Tail relaxed. Then not relaxed anymore. You stop immediately. Because this is not prey. This is a terrible idea with legs. Could you try it? Maybe. Could this random Tuesday end with your ribs opened by a walking set of bone spears? Also maybe. You edge sideways, trying to circle out of range. The stegosaurus pivots faster than something that size should. Its tail comes up, and then it whistles. A sharp, violent cut through the rain. The spikes at the end are long, pale, and pointed like spears of bone, and they pass your skull so close you feel the wind of the strike brush your face. That is how close you just came. Not, that was dangerous. Not, that could have hurt. You almost cease to exist because you got curious near the wrong herbivore. Your foot slips in the mud. For one horrible second, your balance goes sideways and the world becomes nothing but rain, panic, and the geometry of that tail coming back around. You scramble backward with every bit of dignity fully abandoned. Well, that escalated quickly. The stegosaurus stamps once, snorts, and turns away. You remain alive by the extremely scientific method of getting out of there immediately. Tell me in the comments, are you taking that risk for a meal or are you backing out the second that tail lifts? Hour 14. The storm moves off. Steam rises from the ground. Water drips from the trees. Fresh tracks stamp the new mud everywhere. Now the floodplain starts talking again. You find a cluster of prints near a fuller channel. Small herbivores, several of them, recent. This matters, because the day so far has been nothing but losses, warnings, and expensive lessons. You need something clean, something real, something that finally turns into meat. You follow slowly through horsetails and wet brush. Then you hear them. Dryosaurus, light-built, fast. The kind of prey that survives by noticing one small thing before you do. You drop low in the reeds and wait. Hour 15. One reaches the bank, then another, then 3. Closer. Closer. Now. You explode from cover. The herd detonates in every direction. One bolts left. One vanishes through brush. One freezes for one catastrophic moment. That is enough. Your jaws close around its side. The body kicks once, twice, then stops. No spectacle. No wasted motion. Just one clean success in a day that has been trying very hard to make you fail. At last. A proper meal. Hour 16. You drag the kill into cover. That part is important. If you eat in the open, you are not feeding. You are advertising. You tear through the first mouthfuls fast. Warm flesh. Real payoff. Your muscles stop complaining for the first time all day. And just when you think the day is finally becoming reasonable, the floodplain starts answering back. Calls. Farther down the channel. Other Allosaurus. Maybe passing through. Maybe curious. Maybe interested in your kill. Maybe all of the above. You eat faster. Hour 18. Twilight bleeds across the wet ground. Purple cloud edges. Gold light over mud. The sort of view that would look beautiful if everything in it were not trying to outcompete everything else. You drag the remains uphill. Not far, just far enough to make theft inconvenient. Your shoulder still aches from the Ceratosaurus. Your legs are heavy from the failed chase. Your nerves are still carrying the memory of that stegosaurus tail. This is what a random day really looks like, not constant glory, just a chain of small disasters, narrow escapes, and 1 or 2 good decisions stopping the whole thing from collapsing. Hour 19. Movement beyond the tree line. You go still. A young Allosaurus steps into view, then another behind it. Different animals this time. Same problem. They smell the kill instantly. One gives a low call, not quite a challenge, not quite respectful either. You step over the carcass and open your jaws. Mine. For a long moment, nobody moves. That is the closest thing your world has to diplomacy. Then one edges forward. Bad choice. You lunge. Fast enough that it almost runs into your mouth, trying to reverse the decision. Both animals back off into the dusk. No fight. Good. Because the older you get, the more one fact matters. A small injury today can turn tomorrow into a death sentence. Hour 21. Night settles over the floodplain. You leave the scraps behind and move toward higher, drier ground. There is no point guarding bones until dawn. You need rest, or at least the rough prehistoric version of it. The stars break through above the trees. Insects drone. Somewhere far away, a giant herbivore gives a deep call that rolls through the dark like distant thunder. You lower yourself beneath a stand of conifers. You do not sleep deeply. Predators almost never do. You drift, wake, listen, drift again. Every sound gets checked. A rustle near the reeds, a splash in the channel, a burst of wings. Once, the soft crunch of footsteps nearby, close enough to matter. You lift your head and stare into the dark until the sound fades. Not tonight. Hour 23. The air cools just before dawn. This should feel peaceful. It does not. Because now the real truth of these 24 hours arrives. Hunger is back. Not fully, not brutally. Just enough to remind you what this life actually is. No wind lasts, no full stomach lasts, no safe ground lasts. You can steal a carcass at dawn, miss a chase by noon, almost get skewered in the rain, earn a kill by evening, survive the night, and still wake up owing the world more effort. That is the deal. Hour 24. The eastern horizon begins to pale. You rise stiffly. Mud is drying on your legs. Your shoulder still burns. The floodplain below you is printed with a fresh night's worth of tracks, warnings, opportunities, and future mistakes. And that is what makes this brutal. This was not the most important day of your life. It was just one random 24 hours as an Allosaurus. One ordinary day. One carcass stolen. One hunt botched. One giant tail avoided. One giant mistake narrowly escaped. One clean kill earned. One night survived. And somehow, that ordinary day still found 3 different ways to nearly end you. You look out over the waking floodplain. Somewhere out there is your next meal, your next rival, your next bad decision, your next escape by half a second. And if you survive this new day, all you really win is another 24 hours to do it again. Tap the next video. Trust me, the next one gets even more brutal.